Hey there, this is Rick with the Mercedes Diesel Guy channel, and this is my 1984 VW Vanagon project. So I'm gonna just film a really quick short form update today. I don't remember where I left off at the last video, but this section of the interior floor is done. I have that all welded up, primed, copious amounts of seam sealer over everything, so that is now solid and completely metal again. As for the rest of this, most of what you're seeing here is just dirt and whatnot from grinding. I'll clean this out again. It's a couple of little spots like here, which just surface rust. I'm going to eventually grind these down and throw some rust treatment and primer on them, but they're not really a concern. Otherwise, the floor is completely solid. Now, over here, this is what I was doing today. I left off with this a few weeks ago, and maybe even more than that. I had mostly gotten this patch in here, but I had gone too far with the cutter, and I'd cut a slit in right about there. So I welded that up, and then I checked the rest of this, and I could see, if I don't block the camera, I could see around the edges of the patch here that it wasn't, that the welds hadn't fully penetrated. So I did a few rounds of grind, weld, grind, weld, grind, weld, and got it to the point where I'm happy enough with it. Looks ugly, but like I keep saying, once the rubber cab step piece is down here, you're never going to see that. So I'm comfortable with that. See, I have another fresh coat of primer on there now. It's almost dry. And let me show you, I've moved over to the driver's side, which I'm not going to do much with today. Once again, mostly just because of time. Forgive the mess. If you've been following my channel for any amount of time, you know this is just the unfortunate reality of my life. Even when I can organize things, the kids will just drop toys all over the place, and the moment I clear out any space in the garage or anywhere, somebody else will fill it with a pile of stuff. And I'm guilty of doing that sometimes too. So, I digress. Here is the driver's side. Now, I actually just took my grinder with the knotted wire brush and knocked all the paint off it and the rust scale, and it looks worse than it did before, but that's what I was expecting, because clearly this had been compromised and they had thrown some kind of possibly just undercoating over it. But, so that's what this is here. It's still mostly solid, but I'm going to probably cut this out and weld in a patch. It's going to be a bigger patch than on the other side. And I'm going to do a little Googling. I'm torn as to whether or not to get a formed patch piece, because they actually do make this section here. The thing is, it's like $75. Last I recall checking, it may be more or less, but it's, in my opinion, it's quite a bit of money for a mostly flat piece of steel. So I got to make a decision on that, whether or not just to weld this up with what I have, because once again, this is not a professional restoration. It is not meant to be. That's not how I work. And once again, if you followed my channel for any amount of time, you're already gonna know that. So the question is, do I patch this up, or do I patch it up with what I have, or do I get a proper repair piece? Now, the reason I'm considering that is because the proper repair piece will probably already have the holes drilled in the right places, and it'll just be logistically easier, potentially, than trying to patch up what's here. So I'm going to make a decision on that really shortly, but I'm not going to do much of anything today. So, because I was already working on the other side and it's late in the day. So this is Rick with the Mercedes Diesel Guy channel. Thanks for watching, and one of these days I will get to processing the video backlog. Thanks.